Ghost ASMR. I have a special video for you today. I'm going to be reading chapter 1 of a novel that I am working on. It is a novel that falls into the category of horror or psychological terror, survival, wilderness, spiritual. There's a lot going on in it. But I wanted to give you chapter 1 and to do a whisper video, and hopefully you like it. So let me get a sip of my tea and we'll be off. Chapter 1. Relive Regret. I cannot describe to you what my eyes have seen. I cannot give you the proper structure of words to paint a mental image of the truth. These words do not exist. Can you describe color to a blind man? After all, a color is a description of something one can see. I have seen something so unlike anything known to man it excels the ability of description. I cannot compare or contrast anything for you to help you understand. The only thing I can offer you is emotion. Although you cannot relate to what I have seen, you can relate to how I felt in the presence of what I saw. To some extent, you understand fear. You felt the hair rise on the back of your neck. I'm sure you too have blocked out your peripherals to avoid the silhouettes of the unknown. Those moments in life that are explained away by reason but made real by fear. You may be ready to fight in these moments, or perhaps flee. Either way, these motivations are not purposeless. There is a reason for the uneasiness inside. Listen to the gift God gave you to feel the presence of the unseen. You would do well to recognize that our advancements in science and intelligence as human beings has gotten us no closer to the explanation of the spiritual. In fact, it has done the very opposite, creating a race of self-absorbed creatures unwilling to admit their areas of ignorance. So this personal account that I tell you should only be heard by humble ears. There will be things that I describe to you that will be hard to believe. You will be tempted to shut these covers and never return, but I ask that you understand what I am trying to say. I will do my best to take you down this horrific journey, describing to you the things I saw, the overwhelming emotions I felt, and the unexplained things I heard. A quiet warning I give you before we begin. Surround yourself with loved ones for the rest of your life. My memories in my sleep would be much sweeter if only I'd sought comfort and love in others instead of myself. As you remember this advice, you will not find yourself in similar fate. I remember waking up, head pounding and mouth dry. The sound of faint footsteps just beyond the fire caught my attention. Fear immediately crawled down my back as I slowly forced one eye open. The footsteps faded as my vision cleared, and at first all I could see was green from the surrounding pines. I exhaled with relief, realizing I had been holding my breath the whole time. I began to sit up, and as I did, pain raced through my head, replacing the adrenaline from the fear with agony. I winced and almost let out a scream. I tried getting up too fast when the reality of dehydration reminded me to take it slow. I steadied my breathing and slowly sat up, waiting for the pain to return, but thankfully it first thing I did was scan the area, looking around without moving my head. My eyes frantically jumped around looking for movement in the trees. The feeling of being watched was constantly on the back of my neck. I saw no movement except that of the trail of thin smoke from the fire dancing in the wind. I remember all too well the silence of that morning. It was quiet. It was so quiet that the thought crossed my mind that I had lost hearing during the night. What is going on? I whispered to myself. I knew that being lost in the forest would be a daunting experience, but I couldn't help but fear. My experience was different. I never heard birds singing during the day, and the accompaniment of crickets in the night was yet to be found. The wind blew and the trees displayed such, but the sound of wind rushing through the trees in the valleys never made it to my ears. The quiet stillness was oddly louder and more apparent than that of animate sounds. I was terrified. The obvious imminent danger was my lack of food and water, yet the atmosphere alarmed me the most. Where am I? Was my next thought, not in terms of coordinates, but curiosity. What was this place? I was more alone than I had ever been, yet it seemed there were more eyes watching than ever had. I even thought I had died and found myself in a type of hell or limbo. Even my memory failed me. The past felt like a dream I had awakened from, only to realize I'd been here among these trees all along. Am I going crazy? I asked myself. Was this the warning of mental breakdown I'd always heard about? You know, the whole you'll lose the battle mentally before you lose it physically deal. Was this the process of deterioration all others went through, lost in the wild? Partly I wish so, because the thought of it all being in my mind put me at ease. It gave me newfound strength to think I'm only fighting my mind. I actually smiled, and used that strength to lift myself to my feet. I began dusting dirt from my tarnished clothes when I heard it. The sound of encroaching footsteps from behind. I froze. My body was out of sync with my mind. Everything inside of me screamed for movement, yet my mind was paralyzed by fear. They were getting closer. My heart rate quickened, but my feet were still planted. The crunches of steps were getting closer, too close. I couldn't even scream. I noticed my fists were clenched in terror. I could tell it was directly behind me. It had reached me. The warm, moist touch of breath began caressing the back of my neck. The fear I felt was not that of death, no. I welcomed death at that moment. This was a new kind of fear, an unknown fear that felt intrusive, uninvited. Slowly I felt the pattern of breathing against my skin. I began to shiver, and as I did, I felt a rush of control sweep over my body. This was my moment to confront and to see Wu, or what, had joined me in such a threatening manner. I jumped forward and swung around. Nothing. I saw and heard nothing. Thoughts and memories rushed my mind, looking for understanding. I found none. I fell to my knees, shaking, gasping for breath. Suddenly I realized that the mental struggle I longed to be true was not my experience. No, my senses hadn't failed me. No, they were trying to get my attention, trying to tell me, trying to warn me that I'm not alone. Well, thank you for joining in